Here.
How are we, folks? You good?
Fantastic. Were you accustomed to speaking to you when you're preparing for a fight? You're here doing fight week, cutting weight, doing all of this. You might not have a fight. You might have a fight. So I guess how important was it for you to actually be here? And did the UFC approach you for the backup, or did you just kind of approach them and be like, I'm doing this, whether you tell me or not?
It wasn't an approach situation. It was a negotiation situation. I made sure that when I took the fight against Carlos Praches, you take a fight on short notice against a dangerous opponent, I turned around and we came up with a plan of saying, okay, cool, I'll do it, but I want something else in return. I want to make sure that I am next in line, that I am the person who's going to be there. And the best way to do it is make me the backup for UFC 315 2 weeks after the fight.
Do you think that's what kind of sets you apart? Because, Belal was in here and we were asking him about what about Buckley? What about Usman? What about Colby? And he referred to Usman and Colby as losers, but he referred to you. He goes, well, he's doing everything right. Like, he's out there selling himself. The one that makes the most noise usually gets called on in class. So is that what's setting you apart from the rest of these welterweights that are kind of waiting to see what happens? You're actually out here trying to make it happen?
I would say that, and I'm actually fighting. When you mention names like that, do you know what I mean? I would say I'm actually fighting. I'm being active. I'm fighting the best guys in the world. I'm fighting the guys that people see as most dangerous. My last 2 fights, I've ended a 28-fight finish streak. I'm that close to winning both of them. Do you know what I mean? So I'm fighting the most dangerous guys in the world. I'm being active. I'm afraid of no man walking this planet, and I'm an absolute competitor. That's all my body wants to do. My brain wants to fight the best, beat the best, and become the best. Belal is the champion of the world, and I think from everything that I've seen from him, obviously I don't know the guy personally on a deep notice, but seems to be a good human, seems to have his mind switched on and isn't into kind of some bullshit of mentioning stupid things. And I think for him, it would be a smart move to want to fight me next. Because I'm going to do all the heavy lifting when it comes to selling the card. I'm going to do all the heavy lifting when it comes to putting on a show. I'll do all the noise. All he has to do is show up so I can win the belt.
And, how annoying has it been to, because we asked both Jack and Belal this, it seems like Saturday is going to kind of decide the fate of 2 weight classes. So even in your case, say Jack does win, everyone assumes Islam's coming up, skipping the queue, and he's getting the title shot. So have you talked to you talked about, you negotiated this spot. Have you talked to the UFC, if I weigh in as a backup and don't fight, is there something else waiting for me after this?
If what you are saying is right, and Jack does win, let's put this hypothetical idea out there, Jack does win, and Islam wants to come up, everyone takes a back seat. And you go, okay, you're the number 1 pound for pound in the world, you deserve that ranking, you deserve that status. If you want to come up and fight for that belt, then everyone will sit back and let you do so, because that's the respect that man deserves. But I believe Belal wins this weekend. And when Belal wins this weekend, there ain't a bigger fight to make than me and Belal. And I want to do it in his back garden. I want to do it in Chicago. I want to sell it out. I want to be the guy to do it, and I want to take his belt in his hometown.
That was going to be my next question. How enticing does that sound to? Belal has, to his credit, has wanted to stay active. It's his body that hasn't let him stay active. So do you think that is a realistic possibility? I'm sure Belal will want it.
I think if he puts his mind to it after this fight and he gets out of here relatively unscathed, I don't see why not. I had a 5-round fight 2 weeks ago, mate. I'm here. So I think if he wants it hard enough, he can make it happen. If he doesn't want it and mentally he's like, oh, that's a tough one, I'll say I'm injured. Then it all depends, you know what I mean? We find out often how tough people are mentally when opportunities like this come about. I think for him it would be idiotic to not want to fight in his hometown and defend his belt on home soil, regardless of who's in front of him. That's like from me a fight in Dublin and going, would you fight anyone in Dublin? Me going, I can't. I'd tear off a leg and still fight in Dublin if I could.
Then just last one for me. It seems, your son has stolen the spotlight a bit yesterday at the partner day. He was running around with microphones trying to interview everyone, giving Jack candy. So I guess is he aware of how popular he's become? And what do you and Layla make of how popular he's become on the internet? So
we have this kind of talk all the time about my son. And he is just trying to be like his dad. That is all he is trying to be. He is just seeing what his dad does. He has the exact same energy as I do, and he is just copying me. Dude, when I tell you last night, we left this hotel and decided to walk home, and I took maybe about 50 photos with fans on the way home. He was getting annoyed that he was not getting photos as well. I had to take him out of his buggy and take photos with fans and him because he just wants to copy everything. If I lie down on a massage table, the kid wants a massage as well. Last night I was up getting a massage with Heather with the PI with my whole team with me, and he's like, Olivia, can I have a massage? Do you know what I mean? He goes into the gym, he wants to lift weights and squats. He goes into the gym, he wants to hit pads. Like he is a mirror. And as a father, I've learned that everything I do will be reflected in my son. And if I curse, my son will probably curse. If I do and treat people in the right way, my son will do the same. If I say my please and thank yous, it's setting a good example to him. When I'm doing everything that I'm doing, it's hard not for him to want to copy daddy because he's seeing how much fun I have and how much dedication. But yeah, the kid's a superstar. Whether he knows it or not, like he's a superstar and he steals everything. He steals all the shows.
Any fear that when he has to go to school, he's going to start like wheel kicking people out of nowhere?
Dude, I have seen him already when we go to like some play areas. I have stopped some like bad situations already. Like I see what he's about to do and I'm like, do not need that kid in the head. He's just, again, because him, it's just playing like at the end. This is another one I think about, right? I go to sparring. So I'll spar in Brazil or I'll spar in England or wherever I am in the world. And I'll use Marco Tullio for an example, one of my good friends. Me and him will try to beat the shit out of each other for 5 minutes. Then we'll hug each other afterwards. We'll sit down. We'll chat about it. We'll go get food afterwards. He has the same idea. Oh, well, my dad does it with his friends, so why can't I do it with mine? I have to go, yeah, the kid didn't sign up to do that. you gotta understand it. So we'll figure it out. But it's a process. He's still only 2.5, which is mental, but we'll get there at some point.
Ian, brother. What's the energy been like with Jack Della Maddalena recently? Because we've seen like your son brought him the candy. The candy's been brought in here today. We asked him about it and he kind of avoided it. I don't know if he seemed annoyed, but he was kind of like, you know, I try to avoid him. You know, I don't really want anything to do with the guy. But then he also said, unless we're fighting, then I'm going to get right in his face.
I think that's a perfect Jack Della Maddalena response. There's nothing really straightforward about it. It's kind of weird. It's kind of questioning. There's no real straightforward answer. Look, I believe Jack will show up and fight. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's afraid of a fight. I can tell the guy's always ready to go. I've seen his fights prior to, and I know that he knows how to fight. I don't think he necessarily deals well with the entertainment side of the business, or the hyping himself up is a bit dry, but that's the person he is. And I'm not here to comment on who, like someone else and who they are. That's the way he approaches the game. And if he goes on a title run and defends his title 10 times, it doesn't matter what he does on this mic. It's what he does in the octagon to a certain extent. Me and him are two different people. I'm not going to sit here and comment about his approach to the game. As long as he goes in and backs it up in the octagon, that's really all that matters.
As somebody who wants the same thing as Jack Della Maddalena, which is obviously that UFC welterweight title, is that part of your strategy to kind of get in his head as much as you can to take a little bit of his focus off Belal Muhammad this weekend?
I think me just being here is taking both of their focus off each other. I think me being here, they're both a bit more frightened about me than their opponent. Because the truth is, I've shown back to back to back on short notice that I'll fight anyone, anywhere, anytime, and I know how good I am. And I'm so good at dissecting opponents. I'm so good at getting into that octagon and fighting the fight I want to fight, that if I was both of them, I'd be afraid that I'm here too.
And then finally, like, do you encourage somebody to kind of push back on you a little bit? Like we saw the pizza with D-Rod, we've seen the M&Ms. Like, are you waiting for the day that somebody does something back towards you, like just banter-wise?
Listen, I'm Irish, so you push back, I push back more, and it's a never-ending cycle, and it will never stop. I often have to like tell my team to stop, because if I get going, like I can't control it. Like, dude, you want to know the truth of what we wanted to do? We wanted to hire a pizza truck and put it outside the hotel, and I wanted to say free pizzas for anyone named Jack Della Maddalena, but we had to have like a license to sell stuff, and we were like, we tried to do it, and I just thought, God, that would be so fucking funny if we could pull something off like that and just create good content, wind people up, be interesting, because we've also said that we had a conversation last week in Kansas about it and stuff. The UFC has no lack of good fighters. Like, you can look at any fighter in any roster, they're all good fighters. They're all the best in the world, that's why they're in the UFC, and they're all striving to be the best. But personalities, people that are interesting, Do you know what I mean? When you talk about stardom and superstars and genuine interest that is outside of the UFC bubble, that's what people are finding hard to break through. And it's things like energy and aura and having a laugh and all that I find like people just don't get. And we're trying to just have a lot of fun on this journey, because the journey is the most important part. And I never want to sit there and go, well, oh, you know, I missed out on so many opportunities to have a laugh and like wind people up. So I will always let that 16-year-old mischievous kid inside me come out if I can, because it's security's job to stop me and it's other people's job to kind of rein me back. But yeah, I think it's only going to get worse, to be honest.
Hey Ian, first congrats about your last win. The transition was perfect. I want to ask you about the border between self-confidence and skill set. Is your skills who build your confidence, or you begin MMA with this kind of confidence and that's helped you to become the fighter you are today?
That's a very good question.
Thanks.
I think you need to have confidence regardless of your skill set, because you can be a fighter who doesn't have the best skill set in the world, and we've seen it many times in the UFC where fighters who just have heart and toughness, they can beat people who are more talented than them. So that you need to have that confidence. You need to have that willpower and that mental strength. But when you mix it with skill set and that elite talent, it becomes a very, very dangerous combination. And that's when you start to see people like John Jones and like Anderson Silva, who just become dominant and untouchable because they have this aura of, I know how good I am, I'm going to show the world, and I have the skill set to back it up and beat anyone, anywhere, anytime. So I think confidence is the first thing you need to have, because you can build your skill set. It's hard to build a confidence, and the more you naturally have it and the more you genuinely believe it, the better it is.
And last one for me, like, do you have no injuries after your fights?
No, I'm good. I've told everyone this before. I approach this game a lot more professionally than most in this world. I maintain a healthy diet. I maintain a professional attitude inside and outside of fight camps, because I always want to be ready. And this weekend for me, like, I see a lot of people asking questions about, like, I seen Belal yesterday say, like, why is he even here? I'm here as an insurance policy. I'm here as an insurance policy to make sure that all the fans that have paid for tickets to this event, all the people that have paid for this pay-per-view, if something happens, which we've seen many times before, let me take you back 3 months ago to Islam Makhachev versus Arman Sarukian. If something happens, they're all going to get a better fight than they paid for. So that's why I'm here, because I never want an opportunity to come my way, and because of my own choices, I can't say yes. So for me, I will always be ready.
And last one for me, is the media training important as wrestling, boxing today in 2025? You talk about character.
Mm-hmm.
How important is to have one today for a UFC fighter, no matter which ranking?
Again, like I said, there's many good fighters in the UFC. There's many great fighters in the UFC who are phenomenally talented in this sport. But I believe being able to speak things into existence, being able to talk well and connect with the audience who are watching is something that's so important. I believe a lot of fighters don't understand the importance of it, but if you want to be someone who can control the narrative and someone who can garner attention outside of the sport, it brings a lot of power when you step into that octagon, when you have negotiations. You know what I mean? When you look at the biggest stars in the world, you know what I mean? They can pretty much make whatever they want happen because they have that power. If Cristiano Ronaldo wants to go to any football team in the world, he can, because he's Cristiano Ronaldo. Everyone knows what he can do when he gets on the field, but he has this power outside that is levels above everyone else. And for me, I just want to be the best version of me. I want to stay true to my character, but I also want to make sure the fans understand who I am. They see the love that I have for this game. They see the fan that I was of this sport in that octagon. When I'm sitting there going, this is what we live for. I'm in this octagon. I've been there many times against my opponent saying, this is what we're here for. This is what we dreamt about. Let's go and put on a show. So for me, I think it's super important as well.
Thank you very
Ian,
much.
one more over here. I think unfairly some fans might, they might consider Belal maybe not the most exciting fighter. Jack might be the more exciting fighter, like, in the fight. Belal was in here, and he feels that he is the best trash talker in the division. So for you, I guess, which would be more, this is Belal's words, not mine. Which would be more interesting to you? I know you want the belt, but would it be the build-up with Belal or the fight with Jack that would excite you more?
Come on, you know the answer to that question already. Like, that's kind of, I love you, but that's kind of a silly question. The belt. I want to be the best in the world. Anything, anyone, I don't care who it is, I don't care how they got it. If they've got the belt, that's what I want. That's it. If Jack wins this weekend and he gets the belt, I couldn't care about Jack. It's the belt that I want. If Belal wins and he has the belt, I don't care about Belal. I care about the belt. I want that belt so I can control this welterweight division and I can do what I want when I want. And I want to be active. I want to fight the best of the best of the best. I want to keep that momentum going. I've talked to you guys about consistency. I'm the second most active fighter since I made my UFC debut in the UFC. The second to only Alexis Poitin. Do you know what I mean? He's at 11, I've had 10. Do you know what I mean? I am as active gets. I fight the best guys. I've got 5 wins against top 15 right now. I want to fight. I want to prove that I'm the best by beating the best. I want to hold that belt so I can fight the next best guy time and time again, and I can have those legendary title reigns where you look back and you see, because for me the greatest of all time in the Mount Rushmore, they've all eventually moved up, but they've ran through their division. The John Jones, the Anderson Silvas, the GSPs, the Mighty Mouses, they dominated the division until there was no one left, and then it's okay, let's go up and have that super fight when the time is right.
Ian right here. Ian, obviously Paul Hughes is getting his home.
Do you know what? It's nice to hear an Irish voice. How are you, man? You good?
I'm doing good, thanks. Paul Hughes is getting his homecoming fight this weekend. You've alluded to this already. When are you going to get your homecoming fight in Dublin? It seems like it has to happen at this stage.
Dude, you're asking the same questions I'm asking. Again, like I just said, the second I get that belt, I have control and I have more power than I do right now. So for me, the focus is getting that belt strapped down my waist, and then we can have genuinely serious conversations about it. Because for me, it's all I've heard from every conversation I've had is it's a logistical problem backstage with how big the UFC has gotten and the technology they need backstage. That's the problem I've heard. I don't think it's the fact that it's not a big enough stadium in the world, but I think it's more, we've got Croke Park, we've got the Aviva we could do. Do you know what I mean? We need to find a way around that and make it possible. But I'll do whatever I can in my power to get the UFC back to Dublin. We deserve it. We've earned it. And when I win that belt, you can guarantee that I'm going to be pushing to get them back to Ireland.
It's crazy. Your journey has only seen you fight once in Ireland. That was in the Neptune Arena in Cork. It'd be a great moment, I think, and much needed I feel, for Irish mixed martial arts, who, like a lot of stars in the UFC right now, a lot of up-and-coming fighters too, but it's all about Ian Garry.
Relighting the flame.
Yeah.
We need to relight the flame for those youth. There's a lot of people, I'm the first of a generation that watched Conor McGregor on the rise. I'm the first of a generation that's made it to the UFC and that's doing everything that I've dreamt of doing as that young 16-year-old kid sat in my bedroom in Dublin, Ireland. We can create that again, and we need to have an event in Dublin, Ireland, because kids cannot travel across the world. They can't travel across the world and soak up and feel that energy in that environment. The Fighting Irish is a phrase for a reason. It's in our history, it's in our blood, it's in our DNA. So to bring the UFC back to Dublin, Ireland, it's a dream and a goal of mine, and I'm not going to rest until that happens. I don't care how it gets done, it will get done. And when I have that belt, I told you I have a lot more manipulation, a lot more power.
Ian, last one from me. I think following your career, you've always taken great pride in how you prepare for fights, breaking down your opponents, using their skill sets, what they're good at against them, right? That's been kind of taken away in recent times because you're fighting at such short notice. You've less time to prepare. Do you think it's just the UFC that have given you these opportunities, or now you're at a certain level that you can just take on anyone at any time?
Someone asked me this week, what's the biggest lesson I learned from the Shavkat fight? And it's that I'm better than I think I am. I was always confident. My skill set from a little kid growing up in Dublin, Ireland, I had confidence when I was playing GA or hurling, whatever it was. I was always a confident individual. But when I set my mind to something, I know I can achieve it. And that fight showed me against the baddest man in the world in our division. 18 fights, 18 finishes. A lot of people didn't want to fight him. I said, fuck yeah, I'll fight him. I'm not afraid of anyone. And I went in there and I brought that man to the wire. And I very nearly won that fight. Obviously, I didn't, and I'm not saying I did right now. It was 3 rounds to 2, but on short notice, I proved that I deserve to hang with the best in the world. I'm better than I think I am. And that gave me more confidence to go out and fight practice on short notice and to be able to show up here 2 weeks after a 5-round fight. I'm able to fight the best in the world whenever I want, and I'm able to do what I want because I'm aware of the talents that I have. And God gave me talents. I'm simply here to show the world what he gave me and put on a show.
One last one for me, actually. There's a lot of people will say you're not a finisher, but you've gone in there against Shavkat. He's injured his knee after the fight. You've gone in against Carlos Praches. He's a broken foot after the fight. So, you might not be finishing fights, but you're definitely going out there and doing damage when you get in the cage.
Listen, those two individuals are two of the most dangerous opponents in the world, right? You put them in against 99% of the rest of the division, they win, right? I can tell you this. Carlos Praches was not a nice energy to stand across that octagon from. He was game and he was ready and he was mentally violent. I could feel it. But I went in there and I ended a 28-fight finish streak twice in a row against Shavkat and against Carlos Praches. And I went out there and I did things that the world didn't know was possible against both of those guys. I out-grappled Shavkat. I outstruck Carlos Praches. And I did it both of them on short notice. Do you know what I mean? You give me a full camp, what do you think's going to happen? I'm going to be far more well-prepared. I'm going to be far more excited. But that's now in the past. I know what I'm capable of doing to the entire division. I want to go out there, have fun, put on a show, sell out pay-per-views, sell out cards wherever I go. Do you know what I mean? I don't even necessarily want to be on pay-per-views. I don't want a paywall. I want to put on a show for the entire world to see. And for me, I just want to prove that I'm the best against the best opposition that the UFC has to offer. I'm not afraid of anyone. I really live that lifestyle of I will fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. And I want to always be in a position where when the UFC call me to save a card and they call the tall blonde and they go, look, we need you to save the card again. You're our saving grace. Can you do it one more time? I always can say yes. So I have nothing but confidence in my ability that I can go out there. I've said it since day one. I'm going to be a world champion. It's inevitable. It's a matter of time. I'm going to get that belt wrapped around my waist by any means necessary. And this weekend could be the UFC's biggest heist ever. Back to back short notice fights. We pull off a heist like this and then the power's all in my control. So I'm excited.
Thank you, Ian.
We got Usman and Buckley coming up. So I just wanted your thoughts on the fight and how you think the fight goes down. Who wins?
I think Usman should be retired already. I think he's only in this to get a paycheck, and I think Joaquin Buckley's going to run through him. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the show.